Well, at one time or another, we've all seen people nodding off in church, and I know I've been one of them. Maybe you've been one too. Well, right now we're going to tell you about a prayer service where resting is allowed and even encouraged. And here to explain it is my dear friend, Marguerite Evans. You're the national coordinator for soaking centers for Catch the Fire. Why soaking prayer? Why do you even call it that?
Well, it's really just soaking in the Father's love. It's resting in the Father's love. So we use the soaking, it's actually come from the Greek word baptismo, and it's just resting and just being in the Lord's presence, not just in and out, but take some time, some quality time. It's really active rest.
Why do you call it active rest? I've heard that phrase before because I've actually been through this, and I found that very unusual phrase. You know, to keep your mind active at the same time, just rest in the Lord. Because
you expect to connect with the Father, to be with the Father. Because soaking is not really doing anything. It is being with someone, and it's being with the Father, and it's expecting Him to touch you and communicating with Him and just be with Him. Because we're so good in doing things for the Lord and, you know, all that, but we need to just take time to be with Him.
We're really good at being Marthas and not so good at being Marys, and I know for me, the first time I went through it was in Jakarta, Indonesia, and it was just incredible. The Lord actually gave me that verse before we started this whole week process of getting into it, and it was also amazing to try to go through this in the middle of jet lag. And I found myself getting a little too deep in intercession and then waking up in various points where I had fallen asleep. But you guys you don't mind that, and in fact you encourage it. Why?
No, because it's really a time where we just allow the Lord to do what He wants to do in our lives. Because when we're in that time of soaking, the Father sometimes comes and just pour His love over on us. Sometimes He comes and empowers us. Sometimes He comes and gives people incredible ideas. And really in the day and time we live in, it's very important for us to know what the Father thinks about things and what His strategies are. So when we spend time with Him, we really hear His heart, and we really just get filled with His presence. And
what happens to people in these soaking times? Do you have any stories of change or revelation?
There's so many incredible stories. I have the privilege to talk to a lot of people all over the country who have what we call a soaking prayer center, and it is just incredible, the miracles, emotional miracles, physical miracles. Just with me the other day, I was lying during the day, all my muscles were aching, I had this fever. I really thought I'm getting a massive cold. And I just took time and I just said, Lord, I'm not receiving this. And I just took time and just rest in His presence. And after about 2 hours, I got up and I was totally healed. And there are many miracles of people emotional where the Lord takes them back to something that happened with them. It was really traumatic. And He just go into those deep places and bring complete freedom to people. Like we've had people whose lives are totally transformed by a few minutes on the floor. One man once said to me, there was an issue that he had a lot of counseling for, but it was a level that he could not break through. And just in the time of just being in God's presence for it was about an hour, he got up and he said the Lord took him to each one of those memories where he felt intense loneliness, and the Lord totally brought healing to him.
I know people that have been through it, and they like it so much they then get into a habit of every day spending, and they actually try to arrange their day so they have at least a half an hour, and they want even longer than that.
Oh yeah, that is really key. It's to do it every day, to take at least 15 minutes every day and say, Lord, I'm just going to give you this time. And I have a friend who didn't feel the Lord say anything to him or show anything to him, but he said, Lord, I'm going to take these 15 minutes every day for a month and see what happens. And he said when he looked back, his life changed more in that month than any other time in his life. So there's really a value of coming to the Lord's presence, even if you don't feel, see, hear anything. But there's no way that you can give your time to the Lord like that and Him not changing your heart.
You're the North American coordinator for this. If people are interested, how do they start a soaking center?
Well, they can buy a soaking kit. We have a joke, we said Toronto put God in a box. We put this kit together where people can take it to their homes, and we have soaking prayer centers, we call it, in people's homes, in churches of all different denominations. We even have one in a prison. In Pennsylvania, there's a prison, room 113. These guys soak, and we receive letters from them of how the Lord has changed their lives. It's really amazing when you start to hear of all these testimonies. And there's a Christian school who have non-Christian kids, and some of the kids after soaking come to the teachers and say, how can I give my life to the Lord? Because through the soaking time and just being in God's presence, the Lord revealed himself to them and they want to give their lives to him.
How many soaking centers have you started?
Well, in America, that's officially registered, it's about 500, but I know there's a lot more that is not registered yet. And being registered really just means being part of our network. So we tell them what we're doing in the area, and we have a national team. So we want every soaking prayer center to be connected with somebody. So if they have a question or they have a testimony, there's somebody in the area that they can contact. So we have a big network that we've developed.
Okay, if you want to know more information about this, just log on to cbn.com. We're going to have there, you can get one of these soaking kits. We also have links into Catch the Fire Ministries and Toronto Airport Christian Fellowship. If you want to start a soaking center in relation to your church, it was a great revelation to me. And my week in this in Jakarta, Indonesia was a life changer for me, and that happened last year, and it was just, it's absolutely incredible what can happen. So if you're interested, log on to cbn.com. Terry, over to you.